Today, we're putting this onto this. If that's something you'd like to see, stick around because we're getting started right now. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and to the piece base build, where today we're going to drill the holes to mount this neck onto the body. And to do that, something different, going to be using a drill press. Just got this. It's a Wen 8-inch, I don't know, 8 something, 5-speed drill press. Usually I put these necks on using a hand drill, which is perfectly fine if you're careful. That's how I've done it in the past, except for my Les Paul, which I used a drill press on. Big old lunky thing that the chuck wobbled back and forth like this. This is brand new, just got it last night, got it set up, played around with it a little bit, so I'm ready to go. First thing we have to do is drill the holes in the body. Then we can put the neck in there, mark through the holes that are in the body, make marks in the neck so we know where to drill there. Now to do this, some of these DIY bodies come with holes already drilled, some don't. I have a few of these neck plates laying around from kits that I used other neck plates on. What you need to do is just line this up on here so that it's straight and even and where you want it, because the neck cavity goes down beyond what you're seeing here, so you don't have to worry about missing the neck. You're not going to miss the neck. But line this up, take a pencil, and do this on a flat surface, of course. Make a circle inside each of these, and took a ruler and tried to get the best center I could get on each one. And then what I'm going to do now is just make a mark on each of these centers as best as I can. Try to get what really looks like the middle, so I have a point of reference to go with for my drill bit. And these may not be 100% perfect, but they'll work. Alright, that one's off a little bit. Just have to remember I'll do that one last. Okay. I already have the drill press set up. I have an 1/8 inch bit on here because these screws to mount the neck. I forget where I got these. I might have gotten these from Stu Mac, or might have gotten them from Icon Plates. I don't remember where I got them, but these screws, they recommend using an 1/8 inch bit, which is a little bit smaller than the width of the screw, so that the teeth will have some wood to dig into. And then basically I put a board on here and clamp this on so it's not against the metal. And then basically I'm just going to line these up and try to hold this as flat as I can up against my, rather than try to clamp it on. And then I'll line the bit up with the hole drill down through. I'm going to change the angle, maybe get a little bit better, closer angle for you here. Okay. Now that I did this, change this angle and come in closer, now I'm wondering if I really wanted to do that. Do I want to give you a close-up on this in case I screw it up? No, I'm not going to screw it up. This is very important to me, so. Like I said, try to line this up. That looks pretty good there. Let's give her a whirl. I got this pressed down so it's sitting flat. At least as flat as it can. This placard, this base doesn't come out very far. So you don't have a lot of room to play with either direction. So I figure if I get this part's going to lay flat on here. Hopefully it will be flat enough to drill straight down through. Okay, everything's flat. Up against, I think we're good. Okay. This is a cheap, this cost me like 88 bucks. It's cheap. It does have some wobble. And I just gently touched down against there, and I can see that when I thought I was centered, I was actually off a little bit. So I'm going to move it back a little bit. Try this again. Okay, now that took it back the other way a little bit, so if I kind of get it in between those two spots, I should be good to go. Okay, as you can see, I took that down a little bits at a time. This speed is set up now to go through about 7/8 of an inch worth of wood. And we did get through. Not 100% perfectly centered in the hole, but it's not going to matter because this wood's semi-soft. It will self-adjust as we put the screws in. So I'm not really too worried about it. All right, number 2. Well, that one looks pretty good. Okay, 2 down. That one's pretty much perfectly centered. Happy with that one. Now here I'll have a little bit more of a, because I'm in further, have a little bit more surface to hold down flat. Okay, 3 down. That one's fairly close to center. One more. Let's get her done. Get her done. Okay. It's just amazing how much a 1/2 millimeter wobble can throw this off center. Okay. All right. Not perfect, but close enough. The important thing is I know they're perpendicular. So, all right, the next part is going to be to put the neck into this pocket and then put something down through the hole to make a mark on the neck to see where we're going to drill that. All right. I have another project going on over here. I'm manufacturing treble bleed circuits, and it's kind of taken up part of my workbench, but treble bleed circuit. Tiny but powerful. Anyway, kind of shot myself in the foot with how much space I have to work with here. So, and I also shot myself in the foot with carving out the neck pocket on this. If you remember from the first video, it was very, very tight, very snug, and I used a chisel and shaved some out, but it was fine when I was finished with it initially, but that was a couple months ago, and as it sat here in different temperatures, the wood kind of settled back a little bit, and what ended up happening was I now have a little bit of play in here, which I don't like. Now the difficult part about this is I want to put this neck on here so it's straight. So I have to decide whether I want to shim this side or this side. If I shim this side, I can see by looking at it, it's off. It's not straight. If I shim this side, it looks a lot straighter because I think I did most of the damage over here. In fact, I know I did. This seems a lot more level. See, here's the catch-22 with this. Since this doesn't already have a bridge installed, I put this on here, I could clamp it, and I could check out the string lineup, put a couple tuning pegs on up here, and line up the first and the fourth string with the bridge. But since I don't have that done yet, it's difficult to tell if this is going to be on here straight. And you can't put the bridge on straight until you have the neck on. If you don't have a bridge, How do you know you're putting the neck on straight? There are two ways to do it. I could draw the lines on here, measure it out now, put the bridge on, measure the scale, put the tuning pegs on, clamp this down, and measure everything up. Or I can just put this on here as straight as I think I can get it, and then adjust the bridge accordingly. So I'm kind of undecided, but I think the smarter of the two ideas would be to clamp it, measure everything, try to get I don't have to actually put tuning pegs on. I can just run the strings into the nut. So that's where I am. I have to think about this for a minute. Okay, what I did was take some of this very thin, I think this is like 1/64 inch. This is mahogany veneer I got on eBay. And I glued a piece inside of the neck pocket here. Now, when I took my blocks out that I was holding it in there with while it dried, a little bit tore away, so I'm gonna have just a touch of sharp edge there. But the end result is this. Push the neck into this pocket. That's what we want. I want to be able to pick this thing up by the neck and not have the body fall off. So that's where we are. So now I'm ready to drill the holes. So in order to do that, you need to make sure this is pushed all the way in as far as it's going to go and as tight as it's going to be. Push it down. And we're going to flip it over. Once again, push it in as tight as we can and down. Then what I need to do is take something to make a mark on the back of the neck. And of course, when I have this sitting like this, it keeps falling down, but it's still pretty snug. So what I need is a long, skinny drill bit or something sharp and thin. So hopefully I have a drill bit that'll go through the hole. Again, make sure I'm up tight, push this down, drill bit in the hole, spin it around a little bit. Just need to make a mark. And since this has a gloss finish on the neck, I don't think it'll be too difficult to make a mark. All right, let's check it out. Indeed, not a lot, but enough to see where to drill. And it looks like we're in pretty good distance from the edges, which is always nice. So now I have to set up the drill press. Okay, I got the drill press ready here. And I still have the bit in here from when I drilled the body. This is the 1/8 inch drill bit that I drilled these holes with. However, that's the hole I want in the neck. But I'm not going to start with that 1/8 inch. I'm going to start a little smaller and work up into that. So I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to put this little guy in there, which is 1 something or other. I don't know what it is. No idea. Okay. So I'm going to put that in there to start these holes. But before I get started, I have to do one other thing. I have to find out how far down I want this drill bit to go into this wood, because I don't want to come out the other side. So I'm going to take the body back on here. Probably should have done this before I set the drill press up there. But put this back in. Alright, nice and tight. And then I have to take my drill bit and go down here along the side and see, okay, about how far I want it to go based on how long these screws are. Okay, so here's my screw. It's going to sit about there. Let's sucker. All right. First of all, let's do it with a neck plate. It's not going to go that far down. All right, with a neck plate, it's going to sit actually a little bit lower than this, because this is concave inside of this. This isn't the neck plate I'm using, but it's the same thing. The screw's going to sit down in there and be kind of level. So I'm going to put this on here, hold this down tight, lay this so that the screw's touching the top. See how far down this is going to go. This screw goes just about down to the fretboard, which is just a little bit scary to me, but anyway, I have to go down that far. Then I'm going to take this, and I know this is a lousy angle, you can't really see, but I want to see how far down I can take this drill bit in without going through the fretboard. So what I'm going to do is take a little piece of this orange tape, and I'm going to hold this down, because this is put the screw here, put the drill bit so the tip's kind of close to the screw, hold them together. And then lay my tape. And what I did here was I put these side by side with the tips basically in the same spot. Held this up against the tips are in the same spot, more or less. Held this up against so that the top of this screw was hitting the top of the neck plate, and then laid these against. Now you can see how far down that screw goes, almost all the way to the fretboard. So what I did was lay my tape right across there so it touched the top of the neck, so that when I drill, I run the drill down, I go no further than that. I get to that tape, I stop. That's going to make sure the drill's down far enough for the screw to go in, but I don't go through the fretboard. So that's what that's for. And then when I take this 1/8 inch bit, I'm going to do the same thing. But I'll do that right now. Put these side by side. And just lay that right on there so that there's a little flag on there. Now I know not to go any further than that tape with my drill bit. And of course I messed it up already. There we go. Alright, now I can put this in here, and it doesn't really matter where it goes because how high up it goes, it depends on how high I have this. And I need to be able to come down far enough through here so let's just see. That. I'll lay this on here and then I'll drive this down. Actually, I could do that, but I could bring it up a little bit because right now it's pretty close. I mean, it's pretty far away. So I'm just going to raise this up a little. So I don't have to go quite as far down. Now I shouldn't have to go quite as far down. That's a lot better. I have my wood down here to protect this instead of going against the metal. So I need to hold this down so it's going to be very firm. I need to line this up with the hole. Very careful about making sure this is all straight. All right, let's tighten this bit up. Okay. And I just want to do a little test piece before I just want to do a test before I drill because I don't want to Okay, looks pretty good. See much wobbling going on there. All right, here we go. Sometimes the best way to do it is just to do it. All right, I drilled the first 2 holes and I didn't realize I didn't have the video going, so here we go in the last 2. sucky part about this is I still have to go back through and use the 1/8 inch bit. So just when you think you're done, you're not done. You can see on each one of these holes, I brought up a little bit of brown, which means I know I'm touching that fretboard. That's scary. So now we take the bit out, put the 1/8 inch bit in. Okay, a good test to see if we're in the ballpark is put a neck plate on here and try to center all the holes. Which we can do fairly well. Probably not going to be perfect, but nothing I do ever ends up being perfect, so here we go. 4 for the win. I just want to double check myself with this depth on this. I'll put the against there. I'm not going to go too far down through. You might have to see that. Alright, good. All right, I didn't come through. There we go. Now the acid test. The acid test, as usual, is to put the neck on with the screws. All right, here we go. The other end of this. So it stays. Okay, I think that's far enough to be able to tell that we're in. I think I can fairly safely say we're in. So, looks like our holes are a match, lined up. Looks pretty good from this side. It'll look better when it's nice and tight in there. Pretty good from this side. That's great. Let's just bang all this stuff around with the guitar. Looks pretty straight by eye. That's not always the best indicator. However, this proves that our holes do match up. I feel I can safely say I can put these other 2 screws in there, but I'm going to do that just to be sure before I stop. Okay, the last one down in here. What I don't want to do is drive these all the way down without having the back neck plate on there, because if I drive them down flush, they'll go in too far, maybe end up hitting the fretboard, splitting it, maybe even coming through. So I'm going to stop short because, you know, these are about 1/8 of an inch, so I know I'm plenty of clearance. And I did not come through the front. So now we'll tighten up, and all these joints will be nice and tight, but there you go. Using a drill press, got a nice tight fit on the neck. Hopefully when it gets tightened down in there, it'll sit nice and level, and we won't have any problem with height. Now, that's done. Next thing we can do is measure where we're going to put the bridge, because you have to have the neck on. But what I'll do is, now that I know that everything's lined up and we're good to go, take these screws out. I'll put the actual neck plate on it that's going to go on it permanently, and then when everything's all tightened up and snug the way it's supposed to be, we'll lay some masking tape on here. We'll continue the line of the neck with our straight edge, center up the spot where the bridge is going to be. We'll measure from the nut to the bridge where the strings connect, and we'll drill some holes and mount the bridge. And then once that's set, and we know where that's going to be and the holes are drilled, then we can go on to finish the body, do the finish sanding, put the finish on that I'm going to put on, and then once that's done, do the electronics, do the rest of the stuff. Oh, almost forgot. I had mentioned about this being a gloss, and I'm not really crazy about gloss. So before I do everything I just said, I'm going to probably take this neck off and sand this gloss off, at least off the back, and maybe off the front. I don't know, because I might have a different plan for the front than stock color of this headstock. But that's where we're going next. So thanks for tuning in, and tune into the next video, and we'll maybe I'll focus a little bit on the sanding of the neck. Not too much, because sanding. But the main focus of the next video will be how to line up your bridge and get that set up. So, till next time, see ya.